Good morning. My name is Veronica Seper. I'm a registered Canadian immigration consultant, and today we're going to talk a little bit about Ontario and what's happening to their provincial program. First, we're going to talk about what happened 6 days ago, what kind of announcements were proposed when the bill was discussed, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what was announced today on the proposed amendments. So let's start. First, 6 days ago, when we saw the commentary on Bill 30, we know that it will give the minister brand new authority to create immigration streams directly by regulation instead of needing separate approvals each time. In legislature, there were some examples of what are these new immigration streams. For example, chefs, artists, people who contribute to culture, researchers, and investors who currently, all these categories, they don't fit neatly in any of the available provincial streams. And one member of parliament, they even highlighted the case of an entrepreneur who has invested more than 100 million in the province and created 30 jobs. Still, he couldn't find a pathway to qualify under Ontario. So, what does this tell you? That there are discussions where Ontario wants more flexibility, more streams, and better tools to attract high impact talent. In the discussions, they were also mentioned stronger integrity tools, the ability to require in-person interviews in order to approve and in order to reduce fraud. We know the news that a couple of weeks ago there were some one of the streams was canceled due to fraud concerns. And then what are this right now we have 80 streams, and now we're going to talk about what happened today, because there were some proposed amendments published in order to put to the public and ask for commentary on how to simplify, modernize, and consolidate it into four, and they were rolled into two phases. So what are these proposed phases? Know that right now, as I say, we have eight, and they're willing to do four. So with that, the employer job stream, which currently is where a lot of draws have happened. Remember, in July, there was a new employer portal. Now you need an expression of interest. Your employer submits that first, then you can submit your own if you're a worker. But in these new proposals, we have in the employer job stream two details. The first is tier zero to track skilled workers, those who are already in Canada and who have advanced qualifications. You can go to the page and check the requirements themselves: offer wage, work experience, valid license. So it seems quite similar to what we have right now: medium wage for those who are already working in the province but do not qualify in any graduate stream, right? So what we have for the other four or five is for those where labor is facing shortage. So here we have a little bit more information, and it's been talked a lot, so we have to see where it ends when it comes to legislation. But it's construction, trade, union support. It could use in a good way to validate the offer. And but here's some keywords that usually people don't pay attention: region, occupation, or other criteria. So the questions here is what is going to constitute a pressing employer labor need, right? So to sum up, the first is for skilled workers, the first track. The second track is for those where we see labor shortages, and it seems that it's not going to load a lot of input and weight on trades and perhaps union support. The second phase will be on these new healthcare streams. So we talk about healthcare streams, which is not surprising. Professional registration, and what is key here is the not necessarily a job offer. So another thing that gives me a little bit of hope is, and it includes, or it might include, depending on the feedback. As I said, this is are just amendment, nothing is in law yet. That it's those finalizing the registration with the regulatory bodies. As we know, that takes a lot of time. If you are a nurse back home and now you want to become a nurse in Canada, that's a time and money, very expensive process. And then again, intended to address the demand. So The third one, which is a little bit more complicated, and I wish they had put more commentary, is the entrepreneur stream. So it's again for those who invest in the province, create jobs, and two things. They already have operated a business, and then or they have purchased or are operating a business. So here I want to go a little bit deeper because I want to know what is going on with this entrepreneur stream. I have in my own portfolio a couple of clients who might or might not qualify on that. So I want to go back to what it was before, right? Before we had um, a couple of things, we needed an investment, and that required that it was quite significant and it was divided between GTA and non GTA. And just to recap, I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, we don't have details, but this old entrepreneur stream required network between 400 and 800, investment between 200 and 600, minimum 30% ownership, and one or two full-time jobs created for Canadian or PR, depending again if you were inside GTA or outside GTA, and 2 years of business ownership or qualified senior management experience. So we have to wait and see what is the new criteria. And the old stream had very low language requirements still before. I don't think these rules will necessarily repeat. That was the old framework I just wanted to mention. And we're going to see what happens in the new framework. Then the last one that we have is the exceptional talent stream. So for those who have notable achievement in innovation, science, how are they going to prove that? Publications, research contribution, awards, international recognition, groundbreaking innovation, qualitative assessment. That reminds me a little bit of immigration in the US, to be honest, like kind of exceptionary talent ability like EB1, EB2. So we'll see what happens when it comes to that. And they are seeking feedback right now, the ministry, on what are the strengths and weaknesses. There are 29 days to comment the potential risk. What are the considerations that need to be done for this pathway? So a lot to think about here, a lot to digest. These are just proposed amendments. Again, we have to see what happens. But definitely, I have some of the questions that I have are what's going to happen with the current expression of interest? Are we going to see, like, hopefully, candidates don't have to resubmit, especially for the employer job stream. I know it takes so much to ask your employer to support you to get that. And if you get nominated, there is a limited time where the employer has to reply and confirm that the nomination, right? The deadlines in Ontario are very, very short. So this is what I wanted to share today. To recap, a lot of discussion about this bill, a lot of changes to OINP that we should expect in terms of potential interviews, more strict controls to fraud, and let's see what happened to the talent streams. Right now they are 8, proposals to trim it to 4, and job experience, and then we have the labor requirements that we don't know what industries are going to have more weight. This is the mention of construction workers, and then 0 to 3 we have the skilled workers. That's similarly to what we have now. We have to see the grid, what are the point systems. I think that's where all the feedback comes. And lately I expect very direct requirements for both entrepreneur and talent stream, and because both of them can be, especially the talent stream, can be very subjective. So if you have any questions, if you know where to reach me. I post more often on LinkedIn. And again, my name is Veronica Seper. Thank you.